Today, we're making roast chicken with root vegetables. Now, roasting a chicken is difficult enough, but surround that chicken with vegetables and roast them together, well, there you have a study in mediocrity.
And much like the key to a successful marriage is separate bathrooms, the key to a successful roast chicken and root veg are roasting them separately. But don't worry, we're going to add that chicken flavor back to the vegetables at the very end.
Sounds great.
All right, so here is a 3.5 to 4 pound chicken. First, I'm going to cut some slashes in all the fat pockets to help it render as it roasts. And taking a sharp paring knife, I'm just going to make 4 little slashes right in the fat pockets. All right, so now we're going to flip the bird over, and we're going to put the wings back behind its neck. That gets them out of the way so that the skin is really nice and open for browning. And as you can see, there's some good fat pockets here along the sides and right here on top of the thighs. So I'm going to use a sharp metal skewer. I'm just going to poke it a few times in each of those sort of fatty pockets. This will just help that fat render out as the chicken roasts. And now I'm going to turn this chicken around and I'm going to loosen the skin over the breast and the thighs. Again, that's going to help that fat render as it roasts. So going in from the neck, I'm just going to slide my thumbs in there, just loosen the skin there, and then run my thumb all the way down over the thighs and the drumstick. And then I'm going to go on the other side and do the same thing. Loosened all the skin, and now it's time to brine the chicken. So we're going to add 1/2 cup of salt to 2 quarts of water. We're also going to add some sugar. This is 1/2 cup of sugar, and that both adds flavor and helps the chicken brown. We want to make sure that's dissolved before you add your meat, so we're going to give it a good whisk. That salt and sugar is dissolved, so now we're just going to submerge our whole chicken right into the brine. I'm going to cover it, and we're going to put it in the refrigerator and let it sit in this brine for about an hour. All right, so the chicken is out of the brine and it's time to get roasting. We're gonna use a combination of root vegetables here, carrots, parsnips, and potatoes. The key to getting the vegetables to roast at the same time is cutting them into similar size pieces. You cut the carrot in half, you leave that side alone, and you cut this side in half, and now they're at a similar size so they can roast at the same time. And you cut it in half, and then we're gonna cut the thick end in half that way. So that's 12 ounces of carrots, 12 ounces of parsnips, and we're gonna add about 1.5 pounds of Yukon Gold potatoes. We're just gonna cut them into 2-inch pieces. These are little guys, so all I have to do is cut them in half. Now we're gonna put them on this rimmed baking sheet that I've already sprayed with vegetable oil spray. And we're just gonna spread them around and make sure the potatoes are cut side down so they get a little brown. I'm gonna put some carrots. Last but not least, the parsnips. These vegetables really do tend to dry out in the oven. We solve that by simply covering the pan with foil. That foil will trap in the steam and prevent them from drying out. And our vegetables are ready for the oven.
Okay.
Now moving on to the chicken. So I obviously have taken it out of its brine, and I'm going to give it a quick pat dry with some paper towels. And now we have to season the chicken with some pepper because remember, the brine only had sugar and salt. So this is a tablespoon of olive oil and 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper. And that oil will not only help the pepper stick, but it's going to help the skin get nice and brown as it roasts. I'm going to rub it all over the chicken, both front and back. We're also going to tie the legs together because that just helps the chicken hold its shape as it roasts. All right, I'm going to snip off the ends. I'm just going to wash my hands before we continue. All right, so the chicken's ready for the oven, the vegetables are ready for the oven, and in the oven, I have a secret waiting. It's a skillet, and it's been heating up for about 15 minutes, and the key to a perfectly roast chicken is a hot skillet. Now, the skillet has very low sides, so there's a lot of air circulation that can move around the chicken to help get it golden, but also by heating it up, you're jump-starting the cooking of the dark meat, the thighs, because that's what takes the longest to cook, and she's a hot one. So I'm just going to leave the towel right on the handle so we all remember that it's a hot handle. I'm going to add a teaspoon of oil to the pan, swirl it around. All right, and now we're going to take the chicken and add it right to the pan. Ooh, that sear means it's really going to jumpstart the cooking of the bottom. We're going to put the chicken and the vegetables both in the oven, 450 degrees for about 1/2 hour. All right, so it's been 1/2 hour.
Roast chicken.
I know, doesn't it smell good? All right, so I'm just gonna rotate the skillet. That helps ensure that the chicken browns evenly, and I'm gonna take out the vegetables. All right, so these vegetables are not fully cooked at this point, but I'm gonna take the foil off and let them cool for a few minutes, and we're gonna finish them in the oven just before serving. So it's been about 20 minutes. Let's take a little look at our bird.
Oh, gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. All right, so let's take its temperature, if you wouldn't mind getting the oven door for me. And now, again, we're looking for an internal temperature in the breast of about 160 degrees. Now I'm going to take them out of the skillet. And of course, I'm just going to make sure to drain any juices inside the cavity. Make sure they get right back into that skillet. Now I'm going to put them over here on this carving board, and we're going to let this chicken rest for about 20 minutes, which gives us plenty of time to finish our vegetables with chicken fat.
Hey, thank goodness for chicken fat.
All right, so I'm going to want to make sure we get up all this browning off the skillet. So I'm going to add 1/4 cup of water. We're just going to whisk it around, make sure you get up all those flavorful bits. I'm going to pour this flavorful juice, this liquid gold, through a fine mesh strainer into a fat separator. We're just going to let this sit for about 5 minutes, then we'll add it to the vegetables. All right, so our chicken fat has been separated from the juices. Now I'm going to pour off most of the juices, reserving 3 tablespoons of fat for the vegetables. Using our fat separator, there are the juices. Oh, that's the fat starting to be on the top. So I'm going to measure out 3 tablespoons. And the rest of it, we're going to leave with the juices. Don't worry, we're not throwing this liquid gold out. We're just not going to use it right now. All right, so set these aside for later. Take these 3 tablespoons of chicken fat. I'm going to drizzle it over our vegetables. I'm also going to add a little fresh thyme. This is a teaspoon of minced fresh thyme, a teaspoon of salt, and a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Sprinkle that evenly over all these partially roasted vegetables. And now we're just going to give them a good toss, make sure they're all evenly coated with all this chicken fat love. Now these vegetables need to go flat side down. That helps them roast nice and evenly. Going back in a 500-degree oven on the upper rack for another 20 minutes. After 5 minutes, I'm going to give them a good stir. And after 15 minutes, I'm going to drizzle the rest of the juices over top so they get nice and glazed.
Ooh, that is what I'm talking about. Look at that. Oh,
They're
sizzling.
sizzling and that little bit of schmaltz. Now those are roasted vegetables.
Beautiful.
So now I'm just going to sprinkle these vegetables with a tablespoon of minced fresh parsley. Onto the chicken. Just going to snip off this twine that's holding the legs together. First thing I'm going to do is cut off the legs. I'm going to cut down through that joint, and I'm just going to put my hands underneath and pop out that hip joint, and then go right in there to cut the leg away. Right between this drumstick and this thigh, there's a line that you can slide your knife right through. Last but not least, the white meat. And I'm just going to slice it right down through the center, right next to that bone, that breastplate that runs down through the center. And then slowly, following the curvature of the breastbones, I'm just going to slice that meat away. And there we are. Perfect roast chicken and vegetables. Now, would you like light meat or dark meat?
Yes. Breast meat, please.
I'm going to give you a nice big piece right here. And of course, some of these gorgeous vegetables. What are you going to go for first?
Oh, chicken first.
Oh, I see. I go for the veg first.
I'm saving the best for last.
Oh, I love schmaltzy vegetables. They're perfectly roasted, nice and caramelized. That little bit of chicken flavor really just makes them taste amazing.
I was a little bit skeptical about the skin here because it didn't look very crisp, but it's paper thin and it's so well rendered. It's delicious, absolutely delicious. Hooray for Julia and hooray for chicken fat. We saved the marriage of roast chicken and vegetables with a few easy steps. Brine the chicken for moist meat, then roast the bird in a skillet for maximum color and lots of flavorful pan drippings. Meanwhile, roast the vegetables separately under foil to kickstart cooking. Drizzle the vegetables with chicken fat, yum, and then return them to the oven until golden and glazed. So there you have it, from our test kitchen to your kitchen, the very best, most excellent roast chicken with root vegetables and lots of chicken fat.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.